Calling them normal is generous. I mean, it's like that idea that average is pretty stupid, right? What you think of as pretty stupid is actually average. I think normal is like that too. What you think of as pretty normal is actually fairly quirky, and when someone or something seems really quirky, they're probably actually pretty normal. You know what I mean? People's idea of like normal and average is a little too high. Average person is like very capable of being very stupid, and has a lot of things that about them that are probably pretty weird. And I think that's normal, you know, that's average, right? So, yeah, streamers are normal people, you know what I mean? But they're just like a pretty normal sample, which includes some whack shit. The average person is below average intelligence is a quote I saw somewhere. Yeah, I think everyone's idea of what average is like when they do studies and they have people rate things. Like, for example, attractiveness is a good one. They do a lot of studies where they have people look at a lineup of photos of people and they rate them. And as they're doing their ratings, what they think is average is actually like a 7. But they'll call that average because, you know, social media and what you see on TV, whatever, makes you think that like people are on average more beautiful than they are. And then when they put up the actual lineup of like number ratings of people, they find that the average, they're like, this is what a 5 looks like. And people look at a 5 and they're like, I think that looks not great. And they're like, no, that's in the middle. That's average. You know what I mean? Like they just show people like how their perception's very skewed. I think the like facial attractiveness one is an interesting one because that's just, it's very like vibe based and visual. And it's people just being honest in how they feel within like 5 seconds of seeing a picture, you know? And so it's an interesting way to look at that idea that everyone's like thought of what average is like super skewed. But it applies to everything outside of just what you see. Right? Just all types of judgment are like that. It's interesting. And then people will be really average and they'll be like, I'm so ugly. And they'll be like, no, you're actually average. And they'll be like, everyone's more beautiful than me. And they're like, no, you're average, actually. You know, like they use it to show people like you're not as ugly as you think. You know what I mean? It's a hard thing for people to grasp, but when they can kind of quantify it in front of people a little better, it sometimes makes them feel better, you know? Reverse stunning Kruger. Yeah. I mean, yeah, trying to like show people how that all works is interesting. Very interesting. Wonder if it differs by generation, i.e. people less exposed to social media. I think so. I think so. Cause like, you know, in this day and age, anyone who's like super beautiful is probably somewhere on social media showing that they're super beautiful. Most people that are. So you're exposed to like all the beautiful people in the world, but so many people who look like very okay or not that great don't post themselves as much. So right, and they also don't get as many likes on their posts, etc., right? So you're gonna get flooded with like absolutely super skewed view of like only the more attractive people and things that generally look better. It's not just people, it's everything. If you're looking at pictures of houses, you're gonna get shown pictures of beautiful houses, not like very average homes, you know, like literally everything is like that. So I think everyone's idea of what the world is like is super skewed. You know, I think it's terrible. And this is why it's very important to go outside to get an idea of like what the real quantity of everything is, to kind of unskew that perception a little bit, at least a little, you know. It's important. But the sunburns, don't care, do it. Do it. Good for you. It's good for you. I genuinely like, I'm someone who I'm not super into a lot of aesthetics, right? I'm not like super into makeup. If my hair isn't perfect, I don't care. You know, like it just needs to be good enough. It just needs to be good enough. But I noticed when I was working, there was one place where I worked where I did feel the need to show up looking a little better, just because it was like a very, very serious, very professional environment, and like it just felt more competitive in that way too, because everyone was done up like really nicely. So I would put a little more effort in. And then I got used to that. And that started to feel like that was normal to me. But then when I'd go back and hang out with some people that are, you know, from the real world, they would be like, why are you like more dressed up? We're just going out to do this thing. It's nice that you put all that effort in, but we're just chilling at whoever's house, and I was like, holy shit, you're right. This like skewed it a little, you know? And then once I wasn't like working in that environment, I snapped right back, you know? like I snapped right back out of that. But, you know, the environment that you're in really like shifts how you see yourself as well and what feels normal to you. I feel like it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, you know? And I think this is a problem with girls with makeup, especially. You're like kind of expected to wear makeup, because if you don't and you look a little tired because you have dark circles naturally, it's not even due to being tired. People will tell you look tired, and then you're like, fuck, I gotta cover it. So you start covering it, right? And then like it just becomes more and more and more. And girls get used to, I say girls because they're usually the ones wearing makeup. Guys can't do, but it's almost always girls, right? That like wear it daily. They get used to how they look with makeup on. So then at the end, they only see themselves in the mirror without makeup when they take their makeup off, or like right in the beginning when they roll out of bed, you know, the beginning of the day. So they look at themselves without it. They're used to seeing themselves with makeup on. So when they take their makeup off, they're like, I look bad, because they're normal in their head is them with makeup on, right? Instead of being like, me with nothing on is normal, and now I'm just trying to look better, it becomes me with makeup on is normal, and when I don't have it on, I look bad. And that's such a weird skewing, and it's kind of made me hate makeup. It's kind of made me hate it. I think it's so fun from like an art perspective and when you're just enhancing yourself. But when you get used to it, then yeah, right, it's like dysphoric. Then I hate it. So yeah, I've kind of like really fallen out of love with a lot of that stuff personally. I was never that into it to begin with, but now I have like a disdain for what it can do to people, you know, because I have so many friends that are like that, where they're like, I think they look fine with and without makeup. They just look slightly better. And they take the makeup off and they're like, oh, I'm so ugly. And like, they kind of sound like they're joking, but they're not joking. Like, they actually feel that way about themselves. And it makes me hate that shit. Like, it makes me want to kill makeup, dude. But I still like it from like a fun perspective. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just doing it for you to enhance and it's not making you hate yourself, then power to you. I think it's still fun, right? But so many people, it's the opposite, and I can't stand it, man. Because their idea of like what's normal, what's average is so skewed, because they always see themselves with something on. And it's just, I don't know. That shit's fucky. It's fucky, right? It's bad for people. So many people you know actually look better without makeup. And the thing is, they wouldn't even agree with you half the time, because they'd be like, no, but I use makeup to do this really specific thing with my face that no one would notice, but only I notice, but it's important to me, right? Because everyone has their own little issues and complexes with their face and all that. It's hard. So like, I know that I feel that way about other people. You know, you feel that way about other people, but those people themselves, they may even feel that way about other people and be like, oh, my friend looks great without makeup, but they have a hard time when they look at themselves feeling that way, you know? Sandra stole our foreskins. Ren, I can't even begin on that shit. Sandra, please give it back. Please. She's injecting them into her face. But yeah, I don't know. It just builds all this insecurity. The idea of like what average and normal is being fucked up. I can't. We're all gonna be space dust in a few years, all right? We're all gonna be vaporized in a billion years, so